Imagine drilling through hundreds of feet of solid Antarctic ice, expecting nothing but more ice. And instead, your sensors detect something impossible: liquid water, teeming with life, in one of the most hostile environments on Earth. What scientists discovered in this hidden lake doesn't just challenge everything we thought we knew about survival. It reveals that Antarctica is hiding secrets that could rewrite the rules of biology itself. Antarctica, the coldest, driest, most unforgiving continent on our planet. For decades, we believed we understood its frozen landscape: solid ice stretching for miles, lifeless glaciers sculpted by wind and time. But between November 2019 and January 2020, an expedition ventured into one of the most remote corners of this frozen desert and made a discovery so extraordinary it sent shockwaves through the scientific community. They found Enigma Lake, a body of liquid water that shouldn't exist, hidden beneath what everyone assumed was nothing but solid ice. And what lived inside this impossible lake? That's where things get truly mind-bending. Today we're diving deep into this groundbreaking discovery and exploring the other astonishing secrets Antarctica continues to reveal. Because what researchers are uncovering beneath the ice isn't just changing our understanding of this frozen continent. It's forcing us to reconsider what life itself is capable of. Let's travel back to that expedition. Picture this: a team of researchers battling sub-zero temperatures, working with specialized drilling equipment in conditions that would kill an unprotected human in minutes. They're investigating an area that satellite data and ground-penetrating radar suggested might hold something unusual beneath the ice. For years, this region was classified as permanently frozen, solid ice all the way down. But the team had a hypothesis. What if there was more to this location than met the eye? When their sensors finally broke through, after days of drilling, the readings they received seemed like equipment malfunction. Temperature signatures indicating liquid water, chemical compositions that suggested life. At first, they thought their instruments were broken, but after verification, the impossible became undeniable. They had discovered Enigma Lake. Now here's what makes this absolutely extraordinary. This wasn't just a pocket of water trapped in ice. This was an entire lake ecosystem, hidden from sunlight, isolated from the surface world, surviving in conditions we thought were incompatible with life. The water temperatures hovered just above freezing, maintained by a delicate balance of geological heat and insulation from the thick ice above. But the real revelation came when they analyzed the water samples: microbial life. Not just one or two hardy bacteria clinging to existence, but complex, thriving communities of microorganisms. These weren't simple life forms struggling to survive. They were diverse populations that had clearly been evolving for potentially thousands of years in complete isolation. Think about what this means. These organisms developed in absolute darkness, cut off from the surface, with no access to sunlight for photosynthesis. Yet they found a way. They adapted. They built entire ecosystems using chemosynthesis, drawing energy from chemical reactions with minerals in the water, rather than from the sun. The genetic analysis revealed something even more stunning. These microbial communities showed evolutionary pathways completely unique from anything we've studied before. They had essentially created their own evolutionary branch, isolated and developing independently beneath the ice. But here's the twist that changed everything. Researchers discovered that Enigma Lake wasn't a closed system. There was an underground flow, a hidden channel connecting it to a nearby glacier. This meant the lake was being fed by a constant, slow influx of glacial meltwater, creating a dynamic environment rather than a stagnant pool. This discovery shattered previous assumptions about what conditions are necessary for life to persist. We always thought life needed certain baseline requirements: access to sunlight, moderate temperatures, connection to broader ecosystems. Enigma Lake proved that life is far more resilient and creative than we imagined. Now this is where the discovery becomes both exciting and deeply concerning. The existence of these isolated microbial communities raises critical questions about human interference in pristine environments. These organisms evolved in complete isolation for millennia. They've never been exposed to surface bacteria, modern pollutants, or any contamination from the outside world. The moment humans discovered this lake, we became a potential threat to this ancient ecosystem. Research teams are now facing an ethical dilemma. How do we study these extraordinary life forms without destroying the very thing that makes them special? Every sample taken, every probe inserted, every measurement recorded introduces the risk of contamination. Modern microbes from our equipment, chemicals from our drilling fluids, even the warmth from our instruments could fundamentally alter this ecosystem. Scientists have implemented extreme protocols, sterilization procedures, more rigorous than those used in surgical rooms, specially designed equipment that minimizes contamination risk, and strict limits on how much sampling can be conducted. But the question remains: is any level of interference acceptable when dealing with such a unique and vulnerable environment? Beyond the ethical concerns, there's also the scientific mystery of what else might be down there. If Enigma Lake exists and supports life, how many other hidden lakes are scattered beneath Antarctica's ice? What other isolated ecosystems have been developing in the dark for thousands or millions of years? This discovery also has profound implications for astrobiology, the search for life on other planets. If life can thrive in the extreme conditions of Enigma Lake, then the icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn, like Europa and Enceladus, which have subsurface oceans beneath their frozen crusts, suddenly become much more promising candidates for harboring life. But Enigma Lake isn't the only secret Antarctica has been keeping. The frozen continent continues to astonish researchers with discovery after discovery that rewrites our understanding of this mysterious place. Let's talk about the recent discovery of a completely new species of sea anemone, found clinging to life in the frigid Antarctic waters. Now you might think, okay, a new sea creature, that's cool, but not earth-shattering. But here's what makes this significant. This anemone was found in an environment where biodiversity was thought to be extremely limited. Its discovery suggests that Antarctic waters are far richer and more complex than we realized. This particular species has evolved unique adaptations to survive in near-freezing temperatures that would kill most other anemones. Its discovery opens questions about how many other unknown species are thriving in these waters, hidden from our surveys, adapted in ways we haven't yet imagined. Then there's the discovery that absolutely floored marine biologists: the largest known fish nursery on Earth, located in the Weddell Sea. We're talking about an area roughly the size of a small country, teeming with tens of thousands of nests belonging to icefish. When researchers deployed underwater cameras and submersibles to this region, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Nest after nest, stretching across the seafloor as far as their equipment could detect. Each nest carefully constructed and guarded by adult icefish, protecting their eggs in the dark, cold waters. This discovery is significant for multiple reasons. First, it reveals that even in one of the most extreme marine environments on Earth, life finds ways not just to survive, but to thrive and reproduce on massive scales. Second, it highlights how little we actually know about Antarctic ecosystems. This enormous nursery had been there all along, yet we had no idea it existed until very recently. Now let's shift to something that sounds like science fiction, but is absolutely real: ancient air bubbles trapped in Antarctic ice. When scientists drill ice cores from Antarctica, they're essentially extracting time capsules. These cores contain layers of ice that formed year after year, decade after decade, going back hundreds of thousands of years. Trapped within this ice are tiny bubbles of ancient atmosphere, air from periods when human civilization didn't exist, when the climate was radically different, when the planet was experiencing ice ages or warm periods. By carefully extracting and analyzing these bubbles, scientists can directly measure the atmospheric composition of Earth's past. What they've discovered is sobering. The bubbles reveal that current carbon dioxide levels in our atmosphere are higher than they've been in at least 800,000 years. They provide indisputable evidence of how rapidly our climate is changing compared to natural cycles. These ancient air pockets don't have political opinions. They're just data, frozen witnesses to Earth's climate history, and what they're telling us demands attention. But perhaps the most alarming recent discovery involves what's lurking beneath the ice: hidden volcanoes. That's right, Antarctica isn't just a frozen landscape. It's geologically active, with nearly 100 volcanoes buried beneath the ice sheet. Most of these volcanoes are dormant, but some show signs of activity. Heat signatures detected by radar and satellite imaging suggest that several of these subterranean mountains are warmer than they should be. And here's why this matters. If these volcanoes were to become more active or erupt, the heat they generate could melt massive amounts of ice from below. We're not talking about surface melting from climate change. We're talking about catastrophic melting from within, triggered by volcanic activity. The amount of ice sitting above some of these volcanoes is staggering. And if it were to melt and flow into the oceans, we'd see sea level rise that would make current projections look conservative. The West Antarctic ice sheet, in particular, sits atop a region with significant volcanic activity. This ice sheet alone contains enough frozen water to raise global sea levels by several meters if it were to collapse. The presence of active volcanic systems beneath it adds another layer of risk that scientists are only beginning to understand. So what does all of this mean? Why should discoveries in the most remote, uninhabited continent on Earth matter to the rest of us? Antarctica is like Earth's canary in the coal mine, an early warning system for planetary changes. The secrets being uncovered beneath its ice aren't just interesting scientific footnotes. They're pieces of a larger puzzle that helps us understand life's resilience, Earth's climate system, and the interconnected nature of our planet's ecosystems. The existence of Enigma Lake and its isolated microbial communities teaches us that life is more adaptable than we ever imagined. It expands the boundaries of where we might find life, not just on Earth, but throughout the universe. Every extreme environment where we discover life thriving makes the possibility of extraterrestrial life more plausible. The fish nursery and new species discoveries remind us that even in the 21st century, with all our technology and satellites and research capabilities, our planet still holds surprises. There are entire ecosystems operating beyond our awareness, playing roles in the planetary system that we don't yet understand. The ancient air bubbles provide us with a baseline, a way to measure our impact on the planet against the backdrop of hundreds of thousands of years of natural climate variation. They're an unbiased record that helps us distinguish between natural cycles and human-induced changes. And the hidden volcanoes? They're a reminder that our planet is dynamic and unpredictable. We can't just model one variable, climate change, and think we understand everything. There are geological factors, feedback loops, and potential tipping points that could accelerate changes in ways we haven't fully anticipated. Antarctica keeps revealing that the more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know. Each expedition brings back data that raises new questions. Each ice core drilled, each underwater survey conducted, each radar mapping of the subsurface reveals another layer of complexity. The frozen continent is speaking to us if we're willing to listen. It's telling us stories about resilience, about survival, about the incredible creativity of life to find niches in the most impossible places. It's warning us about the consequences of rapid environmental change. It's showing us that our planet is more mysterious and more vulnerable than we sometimes want to admit. As climate change continues to accelerate, Antarctica will be one of the most critical regions to watch. The ice sheets contain records of our past and warnings about our future. The ecosystems hidden beneath the surface show us what's at stake when environments change too rapidly for life to adapt. The discovery of Enigma Lake is more than just finding water and microbes under the ice. It's a reminder that exploration isn't finished, that our planet still has secrets to share, and that sometimes the most profound discoveries are made in the places we least expect, beneath our feet, hidden in the dark, waiting patiently for millions of years to tell their story. What other mysteries are waiting beneath Antarctica's ice? What other impossible ecosystems are thriving in conditions we assumed were lifeless? And what lessons will they teach us about the planet we call home? Only time and continued exploration will tell. If discoveries like this fascinate you as much as they fascinate me, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Antarctica's secrets are far from fully revealed, and you won't want to miss what researchers uncover next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.